Hey, this is Tina Monk, the author of the Soap Making Handbook Volume 1 and the creator of the e-course Masterclass Advanced Soap Formulations. I am doing a series of videos just for the beginner soap maker so that you can see the entire process from start to finish. And in this video, I am specifically just weighing my ingredients, my lye, and I'm mixing my lye, and I am also weighing all of my hard oils to get them melted down. Now this is how I do cold process. This is how I set it up so that the timing and the temperatures are fairly easy to work with. Now you can see on my infrared thermometer there that the lye water gets to about 200 degrees very quickly as soon as it is mixed into the water. If you have not watched my lye safety video or the other videos in this series, please do that first. Lye safety is so important for soap making, so please start with that one. So the first things that I do is I just mix my lye water up and in the sink, and I do this and I recommend that too, so that way any spills are going to go down your drain and not on you. So after my lye water is mixed up, I leave it sit in the sink and it's going to stay there, and I'm right there. If you ever have to walk away, you want to make sure that there's no pets, there's no kids around or anything that can get into that lye water. Okay, so I don't ever recommend leaving it unattended. I am right here. I am downstairs in my soap lab where my dogs aren't, and I don't have any little kids here. But if you do, make sure that they are being watched by someone else in a different area of the home so that you can just have a couple hours blocked off to make soap. Now I have the big KD 7000 scale here. I love it. It works great. I also have the supplies video so you can see exactly what all I use and what I recommend. Anytime that you're using a scale, you need to make sure whatever container that you're filling is tared at 0 when that container is on there, so that you're just getting the weight of the butters or oils or whatever you're putting into your container. So the first things that I do is I take all of my hard oils and I get them into the crock pot. You can do it on high to melt them faster, but you do have to keep track of your temperatures so that they don't get too hot for cold process. That way, because if it does happen where your oils get too hot for cold process, then you're going to be waiting for them to cool back down, and your lye water is probably going to be really cool at that point. So this just takes some timing and patience, and you really have to watch what you're doing. So that's what I do. While my lye water is cooling down, I'm heating all of my hard oils and butters in the crock pot. So I usually do it on low, but however, you just need to play with it and see what works best for you, and maybe your crock pot might be different than mine. It might heat differently, so it's going to depend on what works best for you and your equipment. Yes, and make sure that you never go by the volume on the container. The fluid ounce marks on like some of the measuring containers, you never want to go by that. You always want to make sure that you are going by grams or ounces on your scale for weighing your hard oils, and all of your ingredients need to be weighed with ounces or grams, whatever works best for you. So that's just a very important tip that need to be aware of, because soap making is very crucial on making sure everything is weighed correctly, and just to avoid errors and things like that, it's so important to use a really good scale for soap making. But after you get all of the hard oils weighed and put into the crock pot, or however you're going to do it, your lye water is still cooling down at this point, and you're waiting for your butters and hard oils to melt down. So there is, you know, some time, time in there for you to work on other things, but always make sure that before you start your soap making that everything is ready to go. All of your prep work is done. So that way as soon as you're ready to make soap, it's all ready for you so that you don't have to try to scramble and find something. You always want to make sure that your molds are lined if needed and set up. You just want to make sure that everything is ready to go. And I always recommend for soap making in your area to cover your area. I happen to use cheap garbage bags to line my area. If you're specifically only using your main kitchen, if you only have the one kitchen that you cook food in as well, you just need to make sure that everything is separate and that you cover everything so that way you don't have to worry about soap spatter, lye spatter, or anything like that in your kitchen. So any equipment that you use for soap making needs to be separate. Okay, so I came back with the camera after all my hard oils were melted down, and it's super, super important that you make sure that your hard oils are clear. You don't want it to be cloudy. You want to make sure that you can see through them. Make sure that they are completely melted down. Okay, so after my hard oils are completely melted, I'll take it out, the crock pot out of the base and set it on the counter. And then I will weigh my liquid oils and add them to the melted hard oils. There's no reason to heat up your liquid oils. And this also helps keep the temperature where you need it, because your liquid oils are going to be cooler. They're going to be at room temperature. So if your hard oils get too hot, you might need to wait a little bit, or I know there's been some times where I've had to put the crock pot in the fridge to kind of bring the temperature down a little bit. But if you watch your temperatures and keep an eye on it, this works very, very slick, where you just add your room temperature liquid oils to your melted hard oils, and then your oils are going to be around 100 degrees, and that's a very good temperature for making soap. It's like the cold process. Each process is different, and we're only focusing on cold process right here. But you never want your hard oils more than 120 degrees. You don't want your oils higher than 120 degrees when you mix your lye water in. Okay, that is very, very important. So that's it for this video. We just went over mixing the lye and letting it cool and melting the hard oils, and then adding the liquid oils to them. And in the next video, I will show you making soap. We'll go over all of that.